Master Void suddenly turned around and formed a seal to cast a spell. But the All-Seer subtly moved his mouth, causing Master Void's spell to be interrupted by an invisible force. Master Void's expression changed drastically. At that moment, Zhou Yi pierced through the flames and instantly struck Master Void in the chest. A thunderous rumble echoed through the hall, and Master Void coughed blood and staggered backward, causing the floor beneath his feet to crumble into powder. The sword energy dissipated and returned to Zhou Yi. His face was pale, his body transparent, and a large amount of spiritual energy had left him, making him look as if he could disappear at any moment. Although his attack had injured Master Void, Zhou Yi had also suffered heavy damage. He retreated beside Wang Wei and Hu Wan and transmitted to Wong Lin that his sword energy had not been enough to kill Master Void, but it had caused Master Void's previous injuries to erupt and become much worse. Zhou Yi then sat down to heal himself and consumed special pills made for spirit bodies, which appeared like flowing spiritual energy rather than ordinary pills. Master Void was already seriously injured and had been suppressing his wounds to prevent them from worsening. Zhou Yi's desperate attack caused those injuries to erupt again, making his cultivation fall further, although he had not yet fallen to the early stage of Nirvana Shatterer. He would not be far from it if his injuries worsened. This was the first time Master Void felt a chill in his heart. He retreated several steps, formed a seal with his right hand, and pointed at his body to barely stabilize himself. But this caused him to cough even more blood. His expression was ferocious, but instead of looking at Wong Lin or Zhou Yi, he stared angrily at the All-Seer. The All-Seer remained calm and explained that he would only have dared to help Master Void after Master Void had been reduced to such a state. He then looked toward Wang Wei and Hu Wan and asked them to give him face by putting aside their personal grievances for the day and concentrating on reaching the next floor. Ling Tianao's expression became gloomy because he could clearly see that the All-Seer had secretly intervened. He moved silently beside Master Void and coldly watched Wong Lin and the others. The old man sitting on the gourd also remained indifferent, but his position clearly showed that he stood on the side of the All-Seer and Master Void. At the same time, the girl suspected to be the brilliant Void Saintess stood beside Master Void. After looking toward Wong Lin, she softly asked him to stop the matter for that day and promised that once he left the Celestial Emperor Cave, the brilliant Void Realm would not participate in the conflict. Apart from the man in black, everyone else had clearly chosen a side. Wong Lin then clasped his hands toward Wang Wei and admitted that he had been reckless, leaving the decision to his senior. Although Wang Wei had been displeased by Wong Lin's earlier attack, he nodded because Wong Lin knew when to stop. Wang Wei agreed to temporarily put aside all personal grievances, emphasizing that the final 3 floors were full of dangers and asking everyone not to hold back. He instructed them to gather at the center after transferring to the 7th floor. The All-Seer and the others smiled and nodded. Hu Wan then walked to the stone tablet and pressed it gently with her jade-like hand. Purple light emerged from the tablet, followed by rumbling sounds, and the ground suddenly cracked apart and collapsed, revealing a starry sky beneath. Everyone fell into it and disappeared. Wang Wei brought Zhou Yi toward the starry sky-like transfer array as well. The 7th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave was completely different from the first 6 floors. There were no pavilions, instead, the entire place was covered by a vast sea of flames, appearing like a separate world. In the relatively small space stood an erupting volcano at the center, surrounded by large amounts of black fog. Thunderous rumbling came from the volcano, while flames occasionally rained from the sky. The ground was divided by countless cracks into floating fragments above the magma. While black gas emerged from the cracks and radiated intense heat, everyone was scattered after being teleported there. When Wong Lin landed, he immediately looked around and frowned, realizing that something was wrong. Everything was completely different from the 7th floor shown on the map, with no resemblance at all. About 1.000 feet away, Hu Wan was also looking around in confusion. Wong Lin looked at her, and she gave him a bitter smile and shook her head. She had long suspected that Wong Lin had encountered some fortunate opportunity and had become extremely familiar with the cave. But she was also genuinely confused by the changes. Wong Lin withdrew his gaze after confirming that her confusion was not fake. Hu Wan then announced that the place was completely flat except for the volcano and that the entrance to the 8th floor must therefore be inside the volcano. Master Void stood in the distance with a deathly pale face. Even under the fiery light, his face did not appear red. He held his right hand over his chest, where constant pain came from a strange sword energy that prevented his wound from healing. He swore that he would remember the all-seer, Wong Lin, and the sword spirit and would repay them many times over. However, Master Void then realized that the Celestial Emperor Cave itself might be working against him because of the powerful fire origin energy, which he feared would benefit Wong Lin. He suddenly became covered in cold sweat when he realized that the decline in his cultivation had affected his personality and made him unusually easy to anger. He took a deep breath, suppressed his rage, and forced himself to calm down. Wang Wei and Hu Wan flew toward the volcano, followed by the all-seer and the others. The beautiful woman, the old man on the gourd, and the man in black also headed toward it, while Master Void coldly watched Wong Lin before flying after them. Wong Lin deliberately advanced slowly because he knew his cultivation could not compare with the old monsters present and therefore did not want to lead the charge. The girl suspected to be the brilliant Void Saintess also slowed down and stopped, apparently waiting for Wong Lin. Wong Lin remained cold and simply moved around her in an arc, unwilling to interact with her, before continuing toward the volcano. The girl in pink snorted and flew toward the volcano without paying further attention to him. After she left, Wong Lin's eyes revealed a strange light. Although the 7th floor was different from the map, he gradually noticed remnants of celestial jade inside the cracks. This showed that countless years ago this had indeed been the 7th layer of the Celestial Emperor Cave. But some unimaginable event had transformed it into a flaming ruin. Wong Lin examined the towering volcano with his divine sense after closing his eyes. When he opened them, he became even more certain of his speculation. The volcano had not naturally appeared there but had been moved into that location by someone. The closer he came, the more evidence he found. He clearly saw that the rocks surrounding the volcano were completely different from the ground around them. Standing at the foot of the volcano, Wong Lin stated that everyone had probably noticed something strange about it. He was not in a hurry to enter and instead looked around until his gaze settled on magma flowing through a crack. The magma's extreme heat did not make him uncomfortable, instead, it made him feel very comfortable and caused the origin energy within his body to become more active. Wong Lin reached his right hand into the magma and immediately sensed the endless fire element within it. The heat continued to make him comfortable as his origin energy circulated and formed a vortex. A suction force emerged from his body, using his right hand as a bridge, and the fire origin energy within the magma slowly began flowing into his body. Wong Lin thought about the 6 spells of Celestial Emperor Baifan. He had already learned the first 3, but according to senior brother Qing Shui, the final 3 contained the true essence of Baifan's power. The first of those was Mountain Crumbles, which Wong Lin had seen Qing Shui use in the slaughter domain and which had appeared very similar to a volcanic eruption. While absorbing the fire origin energy, Wong Lin continued pondering this connection and looked at the majestic volcano. Nearby, the man in black, accompanied by the hidden black dragon, also did not enter the volcano. He sat down and placed his left hand into the magma to absorb the fire origin energy in the same way as Wong Lin. From time to time, he looked at Wong Lin with fear and hostility in his eyes, while wondering whether devouring the vermilion bird would allow his flame dragon to awaken for a second time. The fire element origin energy on the 7th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave was extremely dense. Especially within the magma, Wong Lin absorbed large amounts of fire origin energy, which entered his body, wrapped around his origin soul, and nourished it after it had adapted to the fire element. The process gave him a comfortable feeling, and although the pills he had consumed on the 6th floor had already helped his injuries recover somewhat, they were still far from completely healed. The continued absorption of fire origin energy slowly helped his injuries recover again, giving Wong Lin hope. During the month he spent healing, Wong Lin had also asked Wang Wei about curing Situ Nan's 7th heaven poison. However, Wang Wei and Hu Wan had rarely encountered poison in the celestial realm. Although they had heard of the 7th heaven poison and knew some basic information about it, they did not know enough about its actual nature or how to cure it. Therefore, Wang Lin still had to place his hope of saving Situ Nan on Celestial Emperor Qing Lin or Qing Shuang. Knowing that he could not remain on the 7th floor for too long, Wang Lin increased the circulation of his origin energy and used his hand to absorb even more fire origin energy before withdrawing it. He then leapt upward and entered the volcano through its top. The man in black followed from another direction. Wong Lin had already noticed that the man in black could also absorb fire origin energy and had a mark between his eyebrows, making Wong Lin cautious of him. Wong Lin deliberately did not move too quickly and gradually reached the volcano's summit. A huge opening was located at the top, with dense black fog slowly spreading from within. The surrounding temperature was extremely high, causing even the rocks near the opening to glow bright red. Wong Lin floated above the red rocks without being affected by the heat and looked into the volcano, where fiery light and phantom-like black smoke occasionally surged outward. Without hesitation, he charged into the opening like a meteor. His divine sense spread outward, causing the black smoke inside to suddenly disappear. As waves of heat rushed toward him, the pores throughout Wong Lin's body opened and absorbed the fire origin energy contained within the heat. His eyes revealed a strange light as he descended even faster. The man in black followed behind while maintaining a distance because he did not want to provoke Wong Lin's killing intent. From their earlier brief contact, the man in black understood that Wong Lin was decisive, ruthless, cunning, and extremely difficult to deal with. Even Master Void had repeatedly been forced into dangerous situations by Wong Lin, suffering a major decline in cultivation. Wong Lin could also make use of the pressure created by other powerful cultivators to suppress his enemies. Remembering Wong Lin's gaze and arrogant words from the first floor, as well as the aura he displayed after forcing Master Void away, the man in black felt even more apprehensive. Although he could absorb fire origin energy here, he knew he was still inferior to the vermilion bird, which controlled all the fire in the world. He therefore secretly sighed that he desired to devour Wong Lin, but doing so would be extremely difficult. Wong Lin knew nothing about these thoughts and continued descending faster while constantly absorbing the incoming heat waves. The deeper he went, the stronger the heat became. The surrounding rocks were covered in countless cracks and had changed from bright red to dark red, showing that the fire poison in this region was even more powerful. The volcano's walls were uneven, with many protruding rocks. Wong Lin landed on one of them. The rock was dark red and continuously released bursts of black gas, while gravel broke off and fell into the depths when he stepped on it. Wong Lin suddenly inhaled, and the powerful heat waves below were drawn directly into his mouth. It was as if he were devouring an entire sea of flames. The heat transformed into flame essence as it entered his body. Afterward, Wong Lin retreated several steps, his face turning red, but his eyes becoming extremely bright. His origin energy circulated rapidly and continued digesting the fire origin energy. After 7 minutes, Wong Lin looked upward, coldly snorted, and continued descending. Only after Wong Lin left did the man in black land on the same rock. A trace of terror appeared in his eyes because he considered Wong Lin's method of devouring fire origin energy to be that of a madman. Fire origin energy was extremely violent, and the man in black would never dare to absorb it in such a direct manner. He could only guide it into himself slowly. Wong Lin continued moving faster and soon reached the bottom of the volcano. His gaze pierced through the heat waves and black smoke, revealing the scene below. The bottom was filled with dark red magma, forming a vast magma sea. Bubbles occasionally swelled up and burst, sending powerful waves of heat toward the top of the volcano, while black smoke was carried upward with them. Above the magma sea, a palace was embedded between the volcano's walls. Its appearance was exactly like the entrances to the next floor on the previous 6 levels. However, this gate was closed, and a complicated character had been drawn across it using black blood. The character looked like a strange tattoo and gave off an indescribably crazy aura, as if it possessed the power to overturn the world and reverse the heavens. The moment Wong Lin saw it, his eyes narrowed. He recognized the character as belonging to the language of the ancient god clan, which was also shared by the ancient demon and ancient devil clans. The character represented the word devil. Outside the palace, Wang Wei, Hu Wan, and Bei Lu stood together, while the All-Seer and the others formed another group. They floated in the air and stared at the sealed gate. Ling Tianao, the old man on the gourd, and the beautiful woman repeatedly cast spells against it, but the extreme heat distorted and scattered the sounds of the impacts, preventing them from traveling far or producing normal echoes. Wong Lin's arrival caused Master Void to look up, and a trace of killing intent appeared in his eyes, but he quickly suppressed it. Wong Lin moved beside Wang Wei and Hu Wan and continued observing the gate. Ling Tianao suddenly shouted and sent the 4 origin swords behind him crashing into the gate. The devil character flashed intensely. But the seal showed no sign of damage. Ling Tianao coldly snorted and retreated, while the beautiful woman and the old man on the gourd also shook their heads and stopped attacking. Wang Wei and Hu Wan similarly frowned because they had already tried to break the seal without success. Since so many old monsters were present and there was no need for him to act. Wong Lin sat on a nearby rock and began cultivating while remaining alert. Not far away, the girl in pink stood on a slightly lower rock. Countless snowflakes surrounded her body and resisted the extreme heat, while the rock beneath her feet even showed signs of freezing. The man in black had also arrived earlier and cautiously remained to the side while studying the palace. The devil character contained an unimaginable sealing force. Wang Wei, Hu Wan, the All-Seer, Bei Lu, and the other powerful cultivators took turns attacking it. But none could break the seal. Eventually, both groups attacked simultaneously. Their combined attacks became so powerful that the sounds finally broke through the intense heatwaves and echoed through the volcano, causing large amounts of rocks to fall from the walls. The rumbling continued to intensify until the sound even spread outside the volcano. Finally, Bei Lu launched another powerful attack. All of the spells gathered together into a massive storm that swept toward the palace. A heaven-shaking rumble erupted. The entire volcano trembled violently, and the magma sea below surged like an earthquake had struck. At that moment, the devil character on the palace gate suddenly collapsed, and the sealed gate finally opened. However, the instant the gate opened, a shocking change suddenly occurred. When the word devil dissipated and the gate opened, the sea of magma beneath the volcano violently churned and suddenly erupted into the sky as if pushed by an unimaginable force. The temperature became several times higher, causing surrounding rocks to fracture and turn into black gas before falling. From outside, the volcano trembled violently and released massive amounts of black smoke that quickly covered the entire sky, leaving only the magma glowing through cracks in the earth. As the gate opened inside the volcano, Bei Lu rushed into the palace, followed by the other cultivators. However, their movements were slowed by the erupting magma. A giant arm suddenly emerged from the magma and grabbed the beautiful woman. She tried to dodge but was too slow, and flames instantly surrounded her before she was dragged into the magma. A powerful roar then echoed from the magma, causing even more rocks to collapse. A purplish-red coffin emerged from the raging magma, its roar growing stronger. Wang Wei and Hu Wan recognized the coffin and immediately joined their seals, transforming into transparent figures that passed everyone and rushed into the palace. Once they entered, the coffin collapsed into countless pieces that scattered over the cultivators, while a red-robed old man emerged from it. He had no vitality and was filled with death aura, and he immediately charged toward everyone. The All-Seer's eyes flashed, and after he moved his mouth as if saying something, the red-robed old man suddenly stopped. Taking advantage of the pause, the All-Seer rushed into the palace. The old man's body then collapsed, producing another roar, and a sea of flames emerged and transformed into a fire dragon that attempted to devour everyone. The girl in pink, surrounded by snowflakes, rushed toward the palace, but before she could enter, she was transformed into a ray of light and sucked into the fire dragon. Seeing everyone rushing into the palace without concern for the others, Wong Lin also left his rock and flew toward the palace. Just as he was about to enter, Master Void, who was the last to enter, turned around and coldly stared at him. Before Master Void could attack, however, the enormous fire dragon arrived. It was large enough to devour the entire palace, and its powerful suction force pulled Wong Lin into it along with the palace. The fire dragon devoured everything before diving back into the magma. The magma churned even more violently and surged upward until it erupted from the volcano, covering the sky before falling to the ground as balls of fire. After a long time, the eruption finally ended. The volcano became quiet again, with only black smoke remaining, while the magma sank back down and the palace disappeared. Deep beneath the magma, the palace that had been devoured by the fire dragon reappeared. It was surrounded by magma, and even inside the palace the intense heat could still be felt. Wong Lin appeared in the distant magma. Instead of harming him, the heat actually helped his injuries recover. The dense magma contained an enormous amount of fire origin energy, surrounding Wong Lin completely. The vermilion bird tattoo on his body shone brightly and emitted vermilion bird cries. Wong Lin sat down and gradually sank toward the bottom of the magma. remaining about 10,000 feet from the palace. He formed seals with both hands and absorbed the dense fire origin energy into his body. As he continued absorbing, his body became red, and an unknown amount of time passed before he opened his eyes. The surroundings were completely silent, and the origin energy within his body had not weakened but instead become even more vigorous. Rather than leaving, Wong Lin continued cultivating because this was an extremely precious opportunity, and it would be difficult to find another place containing such rich fire origin energy. As time passed, the amount of magma gradually decreased. Wong Lin awakened 3 times because violent magma fluctuations caused the volcano to erupt. Each time, he carefully observed the eruption and then returned to cultivating after it ended. On the 4th awakening, although the magma still contained enormous amounts of fire origin energy, Wong Lin no longer dared to absorb it. His continued absorption had gradually caused him to become one with the magma, allowing him to vaguely sense a strange spirit within it. He realized that absorbing too much might disturb this spirit, which he believed was the fire dragon that had devoured everything. Wong Lin slowly stood and walked toward the palace through the magma. After several steps, he suddenly stopped when he saw a bubble slowly approaching the palace. Inside were the girl in pink and the beautiful woman who had been devoured by the fire dragon. The beautiful woman was unconscious, her body glowing red and seemingly close to death. The snowflakes surrounding the girl in pink had disappeared, but a snowflake rune between her eyebrows released waves of cold energy that allowed her to survive inside the magma. The girl in pink was shocked and horrified when she saw Wong Lin. Although she knew that Wong Lin had awakened the vermilion bird, she had not expected him to remain completely unharmed in the magma and move through it as easily as on land. She realized that the 4 divine sect was feared for a reason. As Wong Lin had gained terrifying resistance to fire after the vermilion bird awakened, the girl had been trapped in the magma for several months and could not move quickly. During that time, she found the unconscious beautiful woman, but she could not awaken her because a strange flame filled her body. Although the treasure given to her by her senior sister protected her from the magma, it was difficult for her to advance, and it had taken several months for her to reach the palace. She had not expected to encounter Wong Lin there. Seeing Wong Lin caused the girl in pink to become anxious. She immediately controlled the bubble and accelerated directly toward the palace. The sudden acceleration made the bubble unstable and seemingly close to collapsing. But she could no longer worry about that. Wong Lin remained indifferent as he stepped toward the bubble containing the girl and the beautiful woman. As he rapidly approached, the girl became increasingly anxious because she knew Wong Lin had previously conflicted with the beautiful woman's group and feared that he intended to kill her. When Wong Lin came within several hundred feet, the girl in pink quickly shouted that Wong Lin had a feud with Master Void. But she and the beautiful woman had no feud with him. Wong Lin's expression remained cold as he instantly closed the hundreds of feet distance and arrived beside the bubble. He looked coldly at the girl in pink and the beautiful middle-aged woman. The girl in pink was extremely nervous, relying only on the snowflake rune between her eyebrows, a life-saving treasure given to her by her senior sister. Because she had no way to stop Wong Lin from acting, Wong Lin asked through divine sense whether she was the brilliant void saintess. His divine sense fused with the magma, causing the bubble around her to tremble violently. The girl immediately denied being the saintess and said that her senior sister was. When Wong Lin asked about her relationship with the middle-aged woman, she explained that the woman was her elder in the brilliant void realm. She feared that if Wong Lin broke the bubble, the seriously fire-poisoned woman would fall into the magma and either worsen her condition or have her origin soul destroyed. Before the girl could finish speaking, Wong Lin had already stepped through the bubble and stood before her. He told her to put away her treasure, then squatted beside the unconscious middle-aged woman. When the girl became alarmed as Wong Lin touched the woman's forehead, he casually cast the stop spell and froze her. Although the girl's body stopped, countless snowflakes split apart and surrounded her in a tight defense. Wong Lin ignored her and used his divine sense to search the unconscious woman's memories while her origin soul was weak. Although the woman's cultivation was higher than Wong Lin's, he searched through her memories without concern for whether she lived or died. Because what he wanted was information about the brilliant void realm. This information was especially important because of the mysterious figure he had seen when his mind had once spread throughout the brilliant void realm after reaching the peak of the Nirvana Scryer stage. As Wong Lin searched, he gradually learned more about the brilliant void realm. but initially found none of the information he was seeking. The search weakened the woman's ability to suppress the fire poison in her body, causing it to erupt. Her body trembled, her face became flushed, and the fire poison showed signs of destroying her. The girl in pink watched anxiously and hated Wang Lin, but she could not resist the stop spell. Then Wong Lin suddenly found the memory he had been searching for, an arrogant figure he had previously seen when his mind swept through the brilliant void realm. It was the brilliant void saintess, Mu Bingmei. Wong Lin's expression became complicated as he lifted his finger. From the middle-aged woman's memories, he learned that she greatly respected Mu Bingmei but knew little about her. She only knew that Mu Bingmei cultivated an extremely strange method which, once completed, would make her the strongest person in the brilliant void realm. The method was extraordinarily difficult. Only the first-generation saintess had successfully completed it, while all later generations had failed. However, the seventh-generation saintess, Mu Bingmei, appeared to have achieved some success. The names Lu Mei and Mu Bingmei caused pain in Wang Lin's mind. The fluctuations even caused Wang Ping, who was inside the heaven-defying bead, to show signs of awakening. Thinking of Wang Ping made Wang Lin feel as if his heart had been cut by a knife. Wang Ping had always held one wish, but he had only mentioned it once in his life. He desperately wanted to see his mother once. After receiving no answer, he never mentioned the wish again. Wang Lin stood up and looked at the girl in pink. From the middle-aged woman's memories, he learned that the girl was Lu Mei's junior sister and cultivated the same method. Her relationship with the middle-aged woman was also close, as the woman had watched her grow up even before she became Lu Mei's junior sister. Wang Lin calmly told the girl that if he did not save the middle-aged woman, she would certainly die within 15 minutes. Her body had become a strange, demonic red, and sweat poured from her body before instantly turning into white gas. If this continued, she would soon become a mummy and her origin soul would be destroyed. Even without Wang Lin searching her memories, she would not have survived for long. Wang Lin offered the girl a deal. He would save the middle-aged woman, take both women into the palace, and bring them to the 8th floor. In exchange, he would search the girl's memories. The girl bitterly smiled because she understood that Wang Lin was determined to find something related to her senior sister. She knew that refusing would be pointless, so she nodded and gave up resisting. Wang Lin then took both women out of the bubble and charged toward the palace. After entering, he formed a seal with his right hand and caused all the magma inside the palace to surge outward. Once no lava remained inside, the palace gate suddenly closed. Although the magma was gone, intense heat still filled the palace. Wang Lin placed the two women to the side and drew the beautiful middle-aged woman toward him. He struck several points on her body with his right hand, and each strike caused her face to become increasingly red. After 7 minutes, her entire body was almost completely red. Wang Lin placed his hand on her forehead and used suction to draw all the fire poison from her body into his hand. Her body gradually returned to normal, but she became extremely weak and collapsed to the side. Wang Lin then turned to the girl in pink. After thinking for a moment, she sat down, pointed between her eyebrows, and allowed the snowflakes surrounding her body to disappear. She closed her eyes and remained motionless. Wang Lin regarded the act only as an exchange. He placed his finger between her eyebrows and spread his divine sense through her mind to search her memories. The girl's body trembled and she clenched her teeth. Searching her memories was harmful, but Wang Lin did not force his way through. As long as she did not resist, he would not break through her defenses by force. So the result depended on whether she completely gave up resisting. Through her memories, Wang Lin gradually learned more about Mu Bingmei. After a long search, he withdrew his hand, and his expression became even more complicated. He learned that Mu Bingmei cultivated the heavenly soul Dao, the peak cultivation method of the brilliant void realm. This method treated the heavens Dao as possessing a soul and required its practitioner to cultivate through countless avatars. Through countless experiences, the practitioner would develop many different cultivation methods while retaining the original heart and obtaining countless domains. Ultimately, all the avatars would unite to complete the heavenly soul Dao. Only the first-generation saintess had successfully cultivated the heavenly soul Dao. All later generations failed because they lost sight of their original hearts and died. Mu Bingmei, the seventh-generation saintess, had instead found a shortcut through her ruthless domain. After forming an avatar through the heavenly soul Dao, she did not allow the avatar to retain her memories. She sent each avatar away to live independently, allowing it to develop a new consciousness that did not know of the original body. Only after an avatar's cultivation reached a certain level would its memory inheritance be activated, allowing it to merge back with the original body. Because the Heavens Tao was ruthless, Mu Bingmei's avatars also had to be ruthless. Unlike previous generations of saintesses who created countless avatars, Mu Bingmei created only 9. She had planned far into the future when choosing the planets where the avatars would live. After countless years, the first 8 avatars had awakened while retaining their virgin bodies. However, the 9th avatar, placed on planet Suzaku, encountered an accident. The girl in pink did not know what the accident was. She only knew that the 9th avatar was named Lu Mei and that this avatar had caused her senior sister, Mu Bingmei, to enter a struggle. The girl in pink turned deathly pale, with sweat covering her forehead. Her body became extremely weak. But the damage caused by the memory search was not severe, so she only needed to rest briefly to recover. Wong Lin sighed. He had already obtained the answer he wanted concerning the brilliant Void Saintess. Although the information was incomplete, his intelligence allowed him to identify the problems within it. After pondering for a while, he looked around the palace and found the location where the array could be activated. He activated the transfer array and told the 2 women that once the array was opened, they could enter the 8th floor, after which they would have to rely on themselves. Wang Lin then disappeared. Although Wang Lin had not killed the beautiful middle-aged woman, during the memory search he had destroyed all of the secrets she had seen concerning him. He had also left restrictions inside her mind, allowing him to make her mind collapse if she continued to trouble him. As soon as Wang Lin entered the 8th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave, he heard rumbling sounds from afar and sensed powerful origin energy fluctuations. The 8th floor was completely dark and filled with black mist that greatly restricted the range of his divine sense. The sounds became increasingly rapid, and he vaguely heard angry roars that seemed to belong to Ling Tianao. After listening for a long time, Wang Lin began to retreat. Just then, the black mist churned and Ling Tianao rushed out. He was in an extremely miserable condition, his face filled with horror, and a black handprint was imprinted on his chest after penetrating his clothing. As he fled, black mist continuously moved toward the handprint. A shadow formed from the black mist pursued Ling Tianao. It had taken the shape of a giant devil and was about to devour him. Despite the intense fear in his eyes, Ling Tianao gritted his teeth, turned around, spat out origin energy, and reached toward the void. A spatial rift appeared, and his red Qilin charged out toward the roaring devil. The Qilin was also covered in wounds, with large amounts of blood flowing from its body. Ling Tianao felt deep heartache, but he had no time to hesitate. He shouted, "Blood sacrifice," and struck the spot between his eyebrows. The 2 remaining origin swords behind him flew out, not toward the devil, but toward the Qilin. The Qilin let out a miserable cry but did not resist, allowing the 2 origin swords to pierce its body. Large amounts of blood sprayed out and immediately covered an area of about 1.000 feet. Ling Tianao shouted, "Beast soul, appear!" The Qilin's body suddenly exploded, and amid the falling blood rain, its soul emerged from the destroyed body. As soon as the Qilin soul appeared, it released a roar that could not be heard by the physical body and could only be heard by the origin soul. To Wong Lin, the roar was like thunder. The Qilin soul then charged at the devil, biting it repeatedly in an attempt to prevent it from continuing to pursue Ling Tianao. Ling Tianao stared at the Qilin's blood with bloodshot eyes, his heart filled with pain. The Qilin had accompanied him for countless years and was something he could hardly bear to part with. Yet he had been forced to personally kill it and use its blood as a sacrifice to accelerate the growth of its soul. Ling Tianao formed a seal and pointed forward. All of the Qilin's blood rose into the air and gathered toward the place where the Qilin soul was fighting the devil. Traces of gold appeared within the blood, and as it gathered toward the devil, more than half of the surrounding black mist was dispersed. Ling Tianao called out to Wong Lin for help, explaining that the 8th floor was extremely dangerous and that no single person could survive here alone. He promised to explain the situation afterward. He had deliberately fled toward this location because he had sensed someone entering the 8th floor. And among those who had not yet entered, Wong Lin was the person most qualified to arrive first. After entering the 8th floor and seeing Ling Tianao in such a miserable state, even sacrificing his own Qilin, Wong Lin immediately sensed that something terrible must have happened to the other people who had entered. He needed someone to tell him what had happened. With a decisive gaze, Wong Lin stepped out of the black mist. Without wasting time speaking to Ling Tianao, he leapt forward and prepared to use a spell. Ling Tianao immediately warned him that spells were useless against the creature because it would simply devour them. At the same time, he slapped his storage bag and took out a small red sword. Throwing it forward, his heart ached as he shouted, "Explode!" The small sword suddenly collapsed into a destructive force that entered the devil, causing it to release sharp cries. Wong Lin recognized the creature as an ancient devil. However, this ancient devil was strange. Although it resembled a scattered devil, there were also differences. Its left eye contained 8 stars. 7 of them were dim, while one emitted monstrous devilish energy. The ancient devil was suffering from the attack, and the stars in its left eye rotated. The single shining star became increasingly bright as powerful devilish energy surged from it, giving the creature an eerie appearance. The ancient devil suddenly flickered and escaped from the Qilin, charging directly toward Ling Tianao. Wong Lin's pupils shrank. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched forward. An ancient god shadow appeared behind him, though it was obscured by the black mist. The moment Wong Lin attacked, the ancient devil was startled and turned around. It stared at Wong Lin, abandoned its pursuit of Ling Tianao, transformed into a shadow, and charged toward Wong Lin after recognizing his ancient god aura. Wong Lin's mind moved, and a black and white yin-yang symbol appeared behind him. He reached out with his right hand, causing the black and white energies to merge. The treasure he had fused with his domain appeared in his hand, the Karma Whip. Wong Lin shook the Karma Whip, producing snapping sounds. Its outer skin peeled away, revealing strands of golden light. When the ancient devil approached, Wong Lin swung the whip and struck it. The devil suddenly stopped as a large amount of devilish energy erupted from the point of impact. It screamed in pain, its eyes becoming bloodshot, and attempted to charge again. Wong Lin struck it again with the Karma Whip. The ancient devil trembled from the impact. Wong Lin continued attacking without stopping, causing the ancient devil to become fearful of the whip and retreat repeatedly. After retreating several hundred feet, the ancient devil suddenly shrank and transformed into a huge handprint that whistled toward Wong Lin. Ling Tianao was startled and warned Wong Lin to be careful, explaining that the devilish handprint could penetrate all forms of protection and that the injury on his chest had been caused by it. When Wong Lin saw the devilish handprint, his eyes lit up because it gave him an extremely familiar feeling. As it approached, he raised his right hand and remembered the shocking handprint he had once seen in the Rain Celestial Realm. Wong Lin realized that he also knew this handprint. In the past, his cultivation had not been high enough, but now he was at the peak of the Nirvana Scryer stage and possessed an ancient god body. The memory of the handprint from the Rain Celestial Realm immediately filled his mind and replaced all other thoughts. It seemed to become an eternal existence, transforming into a will that entered his right hand and shot forward. The palm caused the world to change color. Accompanied by thunderous rumbles, the black mist was violently pushed backward as if struck by a powerful wind. The will contained within the handprint carried an imposing aura proclaiming that everything in the world belonged to him. The palm transformed into a gigantic handprint that covered the heavens and earth and carried indescribable pressure as it advanced. The giant handprint collided with the ancient devil's shadow, producing a heaven-shaking rumble that caused the entire ground to tremble. The devilish handprint collapsed and returned to the form of the ancient devil. Horror filled its eyes as it screamed and attempted to flee. However, Wong Lin's palm did not dissipate. It continued sweeping forward with overwhelming force, pushing back all of the black mist on the 8th floor. It opened a huge path through the black mist. The ancient devil could not escape, and the handprint caught up with it. The ancient devil let out a mournful cry as its body shattered. At the final moment, its left eye flashed, and the eye itself escaped and flew forward. Wong Lin's handprint continued onward without stopping. The pavilions in its path collapsed one after another. Eventually, the handprint struck the edge of the palace at the center of the 8th floor. A loud thud resounded, and more than half of the palace was destroyed, revealing the 99 candlesticks inside. The impact violently shook one of the 2 remaining burning candles, and its flame eventually went out. The final candle showed signs of extinguishing as well, but its flame continued struggling to remain lit. Ling Tianao stared at the scene in complete shock. He sucked in a breath of cold air. His eyes filled with disbelief as he looked at Wong Lin, while a terrifying storm arose in his heart.